Hi everyone. In today's discussion, I feel guided to talk about raising the future generations. The population is increasing, and we all know this. And a lot of people say the population increasing is problematic. Now, based on what the angels have channeled through me while on my early morning walk contemplating on this subject, it's not so much the population increase that is problematic. It is the parenting of those generations. Okay. So with the population, we'll just look at the population. What we're doing right now is we are raising the population as though we're still in the Industrial Revolution. Okay. Now, the Industrial Revolution is important. We need factory belts. We need people who can build cars, fix trains, build parts for trains, kind of thing. But we are entering the age of innovation. Okay. So, with a population increase, there's going to be more of a demand for innovation careers rather than industrial revolution, um, factory belt kind of jobs. So we have the industrial revolution, then we're entering the technology age. We're getting into the corporate. Uh, Basically, it's the same kind of factory belt, but it's more of a corporate intelligence, meaning computer, software, da, da, da. But the age of innovation, what is that? It's creativity, it's visionary, it's creating institutions, even corporations that we see, even we have institutions and corporations that are about the advancing of the harmony of the environment, humanitarianism. Those is what this new age is about. The advancements of creating a corporate environment or institutional environment that supports the sustainability, longevity of environmental health and humanitarian health, which is overall ecosystem balance. That is the innovation pathway that we're entering. So what happens is we have parents that are very much still in that industrial revolution kind of mindset about themselves and about life, while these kids coming in, they have this innovation, this charismatic desire to want to do something to serve the planet, such as the environment or humanitarianism, because that is the focus for the Aquarian age, which is the future generations. Okay. But with that being said, a lot of parents, they don't know how to give their child what they need. They give the child what worked for them. But a lot of the older generations, they were in a period of time where they didn't necessarily have access or the resources that my generation and younger have to actually pursue a higher destiny. Okay, so the tools and the resources they've gathered is not efficient enough for these new generations, because these new generations have what the older generations did not. They have a lot more resources. So with a lot more resources, they need a higher caliber to be able to file through that resources so that they can reach um, their personal fulfillment. Okay. So what that means is that parenting is almost gonna up your game. You gotta up your game as a parent. Let's just be honest, because these kids, they have access to so many resources that my mother's generation, the 70s, and my grandmother, the 40s, they did not have that at all. So it's not in them to be able to know how to access this information. So that's why we have a lot of old people that just don't know how it works. They just don't know how it works, this connectivity of information. They just don't know because it's not in them. They don't have it in them their makeup to be able to receive that. That's just not a part of their design as that particular generation. But these generations coming in, they want to do something with these resources, but they need tools to be able to file through it to create their own personal innovative lifestyle. Okay, so with upping the game with parenting and how we're going to raise the future generations, and I've discovered that astrology is a pathway towards helping a child be able to learn, discover, and master their design. Okay, a child is not the design of the parent, and we can look at that through the birth chart. Okay, we have the birth chart is simply our map for life. Okay, it's our evolutionary necessity. It's what we came to experience, it's what we came to cultivate, it's what we came to learn. And that the astrological chart, the birth chart, is simply our map that can guide us towards our fulfillment, really, ultimately. Okay, but a lot of times and that's also innovation. It's a very innovative, creative, but very concise way of showing people who are born, this is the path. Here you go. But this teaching of being able to understand your astrological chart and how to map for your fulfillment has been lost. Okay, so while it's been lost, we've basically kind of, as parents, we've been imposing on kids. We don't understand why we don't understand our kids and why they're doing the things they're doing. We don't understand. Why is she doing this? I don't understand. And so we're just kind of aimlessly kind of wandering in the dark with our children. So what happens is a lot of times this whole father like son thing, it's simply a lot of times the son like father dynamic is not the son is carrying the parts of the father that you could say the strengths. A lot of times it's the weaknesses. It's the weaknesses. Okay, meaning the neuroses and the issues of the parent that the child takes with them, they carry. Okay. So as parents, we cultivate our own personal design so that we can give a tool like our strengths to the child, such as our own method of how we kind of maybe balance our emotions or calm our thinking or break through blocks. But it's not so much we are imposing, we are presenting basically a foundation that's worked for us and allowing them to do what they will with that foundation. Okay, so but the thing is with the new parenting that's going to be coming about, it's through what we give to our children is what we've mastered within ourselves. So there's going to be this ecstasy for spiritual growth. And spiritual growth is fulfillment. It's not just we're spiritual beings, church, religion. It's nothing about that. It's about breaking through the blocks of the neuroses, the issues. It's about breaking through the bad habits so that we can get to the self that is in perfect alignment with the astrological self. Okay? And when we can get in alignment with the astrological charts, the birth chart, get really in alignment with that, that is synchronicity. And synchronicity manifestation is creating your innovative lifestyle. And that's self. Okay, that is self. All the other selves are kind of just not, it's just kind of a runoff or a factory belt self. Okay? But we're exiting out of the factory belt self. We're entering to the innovative sovereign self. Okay? So the importance of astrology being used for parenting, first we need to learn it within ourselves, apply it to our own life, align ourselves to our astrological map of fulfillment. Okay, learn what we need, learn what doesn't work, learn what works. Okay, learn our strengths, learn our weaknesses, and really amplify and really bloom and blossom in our strengths, because that becomes our gifts, that becomes tools that we can give to our child so they can get the things they want. So we have a lot of kids that are just very confused right now on this particular planet because they just don't know how to get the things they want, that they sense intuitively, that innovative lifestyle, because they know they're not a part of the industrial revolution factory belt lifestyle. No, they know they're a part of the Aquarian age, but their parents are not. Their parents don't understand their kind of design. Okay, so we need to up our game so that we can raise our caliber so that we can be able to give them what they need. So, for example, I have my second house in Cancer. So, my second house represents the resources I need. So, Cancer is emotional support. So, my mother kind of raised me the way the future generations are going to be raised. She did not know astrology, but she was very intuitive. Okay, so she just knew this just intuitively. Okay, so basically, I needed more emotional support. I needed tools, resources that can help me balance my emotions. Okay, so she gave me these outlets or these meditations or these yogas that could help me balance my emotions. Now I have my Mars. Let's just look at a planet. I have my Mars and Leo. So my desire is to be charismatic and to be playful and to basically be like a wild spirit. So my mom intuitively could sense this within me. So she got me involved in theater. Theater is perfect for Mars and Leo, or dance classes, because Leo likes to be the star. Okay, the desire to be the star, the desire to be radiant, to have fun, and that is very much how my mother helped me to fulfill that part of my astrological chart. Okay, so I have my 10th house and Pisces. So 10th house is like the role I have to play for humanity. So Pisces is about being creative. It's about being like a painter, a poet. So my mother, when I was very young, I gravitated more towards art. So she would basically support that. She would get me the little tool, the art pads, the pencils, the paintings, basically what I needed to just paint. And she's like, just paint. And that's what fulfilled me. Just paint. Okay, paint. Okay. For example, I have my first house in Gemini, so I naturally like to learn. So my mom has always supported my desire to want to further education or public speaking. Gemini being like a teacher, she always supported me being a teacher to children. Okay, so this is the future of parenting. Okay, this is the new generational parent and child. Okay, so how that helps the child is, like I said, they become their own person, not a factory belt of just the same old thing, worker bees, because we don't need that anymore. The reason we don't need that anymore because we're understanding, we're coming to a point in our evolution where having a bunch of cars in the street is not efficient. There's no longevity in this whole industrial revolution where we're just mindset of just keep making more, like a factory belt, more. We're beginning to understand there's no longevity in that. So what that means is that innovation, we're going to be taking one person in the South has two cars, a truck and a smaller car, to innovation is we're going to invent a car that is going to replace that design or create subway systems that replace that sort of inefficient method of kind of transportation. Okay, and that's the Aquarian breed. And again, it all focused on environmentalism and humanitarianism. Okay, and industrial revolution was not necessarily focused on, not on environmentalism or humanitarianism. Okay, it was just more focused on more and more. Okay, what works, just keep going with what works, but that doesn't work anymore. And we're beginning to realize that. So when they can be able to be their astrological chart rather than just be aimlessly wandering in the dark, like, what am I doing, what am I supposed to do with myself, and like they're just aimlessly wandering. A lot of times those kids, they take on their parents' design because they just don't know what else to do, they don't know who else to be. So parents need to be expanders for children. Okay, not when a child comes to their home with their parent, they should be in awe at the expansion of the parent. Not, oh, I want to get away from this house because, this is just not it. This is just neuroses, issues. No. Okay. And that's also with the older generations in the Piscean age, where we have all of this issue from the wars. Okay, like my grandmother's generation, the World War One and Two, and that kind of aftermath left, this trauma in the Piscean age. The children, they are they want to get away from that, meaning they want to move on from that. Okay, that was that, let's move on. Let's not indulge and continue to dwell in that for too long, okay, and waste our whole 20-30 years just dwelling in that kind of, dreary kind of thing. Okay, let's learn the lesson, let's move on to innovation and get the planet in balance. Okay, so when a kid is having their parent as an expander, meaning that parent is very much, they know their astrological birth chart, they know their fulfillment, or they're getting to know, they're spiritually growing, they're spiritual evolving themselves. Then the parent being an expander to the child helps them to basically be their own person, be their own design. So we're creating new designs. We're not creating, like I said, more of the same. We're creating new designs. So how we can best help them is giving them our intuitive knowing through our own astrological chart analysis on how they can best fulfill themselves. So if they have their moon, for example, like their moon in Gemini, they like to nurture being a teacher, or they're learning. They want to learn things. They want to have experiences that stimulate new perspectives or new perceptions. Okay. So then we give them those things. Okay. For example, let's say they have, we'll just go for Venus and Pisces. Venus is about beauty. Venus is about prosperity. So Venus and Pisces would be the beauty of creativity, of connecting with the cosmos through painting. So giving those child that kind of maybe astrology in the form of you, astrology as in astronomy. Okay, astronomy, and maybe painting astronomy, because that's kind of like a Pisces thing, taking the cosmic whoa and putting it into something that is uh, artistic. Okay, spirituality. So with the current state of parenting children, as we know, it's very different. Okay, it's not this we have. We have a lot of unconscious parenting, and that's why a lot of people say the increase in population is problematic, because we have a lot of parents that just are not giving their kids what they need to be fulfilled. Okay, so a kid comes out of this vessel, and it is a responsibility to get them on the path of their birth chart. I mean, they can, figure it out on their own, but it's a lot more efficient if the child right off the bat can get going. So what happens is the children basically have to deprogram all of the neuroses and issues of the parent before they can actually get to the question of who am I? So they're like 20, they're 30, sometimes they're 40 years old when they've gotten to the point where they've actually declogged all of their parents' neuroses and issue, and now they feel free, they feel more of like themselves, and then they're going to discover themselves. and their design, who they are, what their fulfillment is. Okay. Um, so that's kind of what's going on. But when a kid comes in and at age 0, their parent is an expander for them, and their parent knows how to give them what they need, okay, they know, then the kid, they get what they need. And then right off the bat, there's no, I am a carrier of my parents' neuroses and issues. No, I am in alignment with my birth chart. I am in alignment with who I am. Okay. I am my own expander. Okay. I'm my own expander. And the parents can give them that momentum, can propel them into that. A mother can do that, can propel that baby inside of the belly into their astrological higher destiny. Even when you are pregnant, um, you can do things for yourself that highlight or emphasize um, what you sense, the child's energy, their higher destiny. For example, if they're born in like April, such as myself, you may want to do things that really highlight that Aries energy of leadership, of being a pioneer. Okay, to really emphasize, highlight that first basic energy dynamic of the child born in April or March. Okay, so with that, the kids, there's not going to be this aimlessly wandering in the dark, just kind of experiences that don't really seem organized or kind of miscellaneous. And kids are going to be getting into a loving confidence, where they're moving forward towards their astrological birth chart. And a lot of times it's moving way from the parents' generation. Okay, because the generational gaps are getting pretty thick. Yeah, pretty thick, pretty wide. Okay, between my mothers, my grandmothers, and me, it's wide, and it'll continue to get wider between parent and son, or parent and daughter, as we continue to progress into the Aquarian age. Okay, because the whole design of our relationship to the earth and to each other is having a makeshift transformation. So what that means is, as we step further into innovation lifestyle and away from industrial revolution kind of factory belt, same worker bees, we're going to find that we are going to constantly have to up our games as parents. Even when our kid is 10, we have to up our game. When our kid's 20, up our game. When we are a grandparent, we definitely got to up our game. And that's exciting when you have it inside of you. Spiritual growth, breaking through blocks is ecstasy. Okay, when it becomes, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to face that emotion. Like, that's too painful or that's too heavy, which the Piscean age was. I don't want to deal with that. Then there is no breakthrough. And same. Okay, so when we have it very clear within us as a parent that, I love breakthrough, I love spiritual growth, because it gives me ecstasy to know that I can free myself of anything that binds me, of any habit, of any addiction, of any tendency. I can do that. That is high self-worth within yourself. You can do that, and that becomes like your lifestyle. And then that's more so the lifestyle in alignment with the next generation. They want to spiritually grow. They want to break through the addictions, the habits, the tendencies. But a lot of times when the parent is very, very low, okay, the very, very low in their kind of energy and who they are, and they just, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. That does have an effect on the child. Like I've said, parents, it's a caliber for the child. If the parent is so low, they're not working on their emotions, they are not really self-discovery, they're not managing or dealing with themselves, creating harmony in their environment. Well, that affects the child. Okay, because the child should go to the parent for tools. And when a child can't go to a parent for tools, they have to go out there in the world and do it themselves. And that's a lesson. And that I've done that in previous lifetimes. Been the go out there and find it, And that's what a lot of kids are doing right now, because they're realizing, I'm not going to find my fulfillment. I'm not going to expand in this environment, so I need to leave. So a lot of kids are leaving their families, just going out there and traveling, or just going where they feel intuitively guided, because they know that is what they have to do to not to break free of the neuroseason issues of the parent of the low energy, so that they can begin to get to who they are, and therefore begin to create their innovative lifestyle. And we all, Aquarian breeds, they know that is what they're supposed to do, because they're sensitive and they're psychic enough to know that. Okay, the whole internet, the access to information at the tip of your hands, it has made kids very sensitive and psychic. Okay, information everywhere, so they can sense. They have this transparency. They're not easily fooled. Okay, Aquarian age represents sophisticated being. So Aquarian breed is sophisticated. The Piscean is very emotional, and therefore their emotions cloud them, meaning they don't see clearly. Their psychic ability is very messy. Okay, so when something happens, oh, I'm fooled, you betrayed me, oh, I'm gonna go kill you for an eye, revenge. That is not sensitivity. That's a mess of psychic ability. Okay, but the psychic ability of the Aquarian age is transparency, authenticity, and higher thinking. Low thinking is letting your emotions just go chaotic everywhere around. Higher thinking is managing emotions, aligning emotions with the total system, improving the system, like the computer that is the body, and wisdom, basically, just an inner knowing. Okay, that's not connected to daddy, grandma, collective, whatever. It's directly from within, a deep knowing. It's not tied up in anything on this planet. It's their own. Okay, so this I just felt guided to create this video on this subject, because the Aquarian age is happening, and we are entering into that. And entering into that means that we have to up our game as parents. Okay, for example, I'm just going to use another example. Let's say Saturn. Let's say Saturn is in Taurus. So Saturn is a planet of discipline, is the planet of structure. So for a child in an environment where there is no sense of security, like financial security, their home is not very secure, meaning they're moving around, like the parent doesn't have a job or doesn't have a home and they're just hopping around. A kid will be very unhappy with that, unless there's other signs that are kind of can uplift or remedy that sort of placement. Okay, of course it's a learned lesson, but with Saturn in the Taurus energy, a child will naturally want an environment that's very secure. Okay, very secure, meaning the finances are secure, that the parent is very reliable, dependable, they have a job that's very consistent, they're very consistent with themselves and with their health and with their beauty and that kind of thing. Okay, so yeah, that's just another example. This is for you to discover if you want to do this way of raising children, because I believe this is more so the future of raising the Aquarian breed. Okay, getting away from just be like me, factory belt, to be like you. I'll give you what worked for me, I'll give it to you, and I'll intuitively do an analysis of your astrological birth chart, and I'll give you the things that can highlight and emphasize the areas of excellence within you. Okay? And that overall, it's the parent not just having a kid. Like so many parents just having a kid because they're just following everyone else. No, but having a kid because you as an individual, you know what you need to do to get that kid to be their person, so they can be radiant, so they can be successful and not have to be 40 years old before they figure it out. Okay, parent can be it can be a kind of setback, or it can be a boost. You just have to decide. A lot of children, parent is setback, okay? And parent should be propulsion. 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 I didn't know that word came up. Yes, it should be propelling them into rocketing into that life, their innovative lifestyle that's based on their birth chart, their fulfillment, that makes them their own design, their own person, and overall just helpful. Okay, helpful. That's when you're fulfilled. You're just helpful to yourself. You're helpful to your environment. You're helpful to your friends, and that just creates this level of happiness, a level of, I know who I am, and I'm not fooling you guys. I don't need to fool you guys because I feel my growth. I feel my excellence. I feel my empowerment. I feel my joy, and it may not be like y'all, but I feel radiant. I feel myself. So for a child to be themselves, that's what we all want to get to. Because it don't matter, you got a car or you got this house, or you got this woman, or you get this kid. If you don't have that radiance within yourself, then all of that stuff, it's not it. And it's not it. It doesn't really feel like it because you don't feel like any sense of victory in your life. Okay, just like these little marriage and then have a kid, but then that victory goes away kind of feeling. Okay, so victory is spiritual growth, fulfilling who you are, what you came here to do, and being helpful through you mastering yourself. So that's the future of the next generation of having kids in the next generation. We're going to get to the point where we're going to want to master ourselves before we sit there and just have kids, because we want to get the kids, propel them towards their higher destiny and not be a setback or not be something that kind of hijacks their natural talents and gifts. Okay, so thank you for watching, and namaste.